It's time to power up your classroom with Microsoft Dreamspace Digital Academy. From the basics of game development to first steps in coding and web design, this exciting online platform gives teachers the tools they need to ignite their students' curiosity in STEM.
Hi everyone, you're very welcome to Dreamspace, and we are going to be here talking to you today about our new platform, the Dreamspace Digital Academy. My name is Amanda Jolliffe and I'm joined by my colleague Michael Barrett. We are just two of the teachers here on the Dreamspace team going to be representing and talking about the amazing work that the entire team has built out to hopefully support you in your schools. Now, we do want to get into what the Digital Academy is all about, but just in case you're not familiar with Dreamspace or you're not sure about the work we're doing, I'm going to let Michael just bring us through a couple of points about what we do here in Dreamspace.
Yeah, so today's event is all about looking forward in the next chapter of Dreamspace. But before we do that, let's take a quick look back on our mission thus far, okay? So Dreamspace is dedicated to providing immersive research-based STEM experiences to the young people of Ireland. And one of the core parts of our mission is to provide support not just for students on their STEM education journeys, but for teachers as well. So since our launch back in 2018, we have had a range of programming, both in person, which students visited us on-site here in Leopardstown in Dublin. We've had a range of on-demand content like Dreamspace TV and Dreamspace Teacher that allowed teachers to actually lead out those STEM experiences in their classrooms. And we've had a range of live events as well, in which classrooms actually joined us live virtually here in Dreamspace as well. And over the past 4 years, we've actually reached over 100,000 students with these immersive STEM experiences. But that is a brief just look back. I think now it's time to announce the next chapter of Dreamspace.
Yeah, so we have a big and bold ambition to try and get in front of every student in Ireland at some stage in the next 4 years. We want to make sure that the STEM experiences we've developed are easy for you to deploy in classrooms, but also really impactful as well. And this is where our idea for the Dreamspace Digital Academy was born out of. Now, you might have already enrolled yourself as a teacher to be part of this Digital Academy, or you might have just heard about it recently and are tuning in right now to find out more. So we're going to just show you a quick video that brings you through how you enroll and also how you can get your students onboarded really easily in our new Dreamspace Digital Academy.
Hello and welcome to this video on onboarding to the Dreamspace Digital Academy. We will show you how you can join the platform and add your students. Select Get Started on the Dreamspace Digital Academy landing page. Fill in the registration form that appears. Select whether you are a student or a teacher. Enter your school roll number, name and address. Then add your name, contact email address and phone number. A welcome email will then be sent to you. We normally send this to you within 5 working days, but allow for a maximum of 3 weeks for this email to arrive. Check for spam or junk folder if you do not receive this, or email us at dreamspace@microsoft.com. The welcome email has the teacher onboarding link and student onboarding links that you can use to onboard the teachers and students of your school to the Dreamspace Digital Academy. These onboarding links are unique to your school. You can share the learner onboarding link from the email with the students in your school. Once they click on the link, it will bring the students to the learner sign-up page unique to your school. They will need to enter their name, email, phone number and a password for the account. The email address is optional. Once they select Sign Up, it will bring them to the successful completion page where they can see their login details and how to access the platform using Microsoft Teams or a web browser. They can download a PDF of this information using the Download Guide button. If they entered an email address, they will also get an email with their login details. To log into the platform using Microsoft Teams, inside the Teams environment the learner will need to download the Olive VLE application. Once downloaded, they can simply select Sign In and add the school domain and the username and password. Inside the platform, they can head onto the courses section to select the pathway of their choice and begin taking them by selecting Enroll. You will need to use the teacher link from the welcome email to onboard teachers. You can share the teacher onboarding link from the email with the teachers in your school. Once they click on the link, it will bring them to the teacher sign-up page unique to your school. They will need to enter their name, email address, phone number, and a password. Once they select Sign Up, it will bring them to the successful completion page where they can see their login details and how to access the platform using Microsoft Teams or a web browser. They can download a PDF of this information using the Download Guide button. They will also receive an email with their login details. The teachers will also be in setup also as learners when they initially set up. They will then be upgraded to the teacher role, so that they can add and manage the students from their school. Once the Olive VLE app has been downloaded inside Microsoft Teams, they will need to select Sign In and add the school domain and username and password. If you are not a Microsoft Teams user, then you can follow the guidelines that appear in the Success page to access the platform through a browser. Open the URL indicated on the page in a browser. Select Sign In and add the email address and password. Then select All Courses, where you can see the available pathways. Select Enroll to get started with the pathway of your choice.
Okay, so that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour through how you can enroll and how you can get your students enrolled in the DreamSpace Digital Academy. However, you might have some questions, so please do use that chat window if you have any questions at all about that process, and hopefully at the end of the event we can get into that Q&A session and see if we can answer those queries for you. Now, just go into a little bit of detail here first of all about the DreamSpace Digital Academy. Really what this is all about, as I said earlier, is making sure that we reach as many students as possible and support you as the teachers in the classroom as well, to spark some STEM curiosity and also just give access to maybe some new content and new skills that hasn't been looked at before. What we're doing here is we're taking a module-based approach, and we'll look at this in a little while when we go into a bit of a deeper dive in two of our pathways in particular. So we have learning pathways broken into modules, and you can decide as the teacher how best you want to bring your students through that. You might actually ask them to do one pathway and move through the modules together, or you might let them go at the pace that's suitable to them and see how they get on. As they move through each module, there will be knowledge checks for them to complete, just seeing how their learning has gone thus far, and also kind of setting them up for success as they move through the pathway from module to module. And as they move through this as well, they will get digital badges, which hopefully will be something exciting for them, some positive reinforcement, and something that they can then share on. At the end of the pathway, there will also be the ability to download a certificate of completion, which you could be printed off, or they can just proudly display themselves. And then finally, you as the teacher will have a dashboard to see the progress of the students as they move through each of these pathways also. Now, those latter 2 points are currently in development, but they will be rolling out in the coming weeks. So we're really excited about that and to see how you get on with those features. But how about we just actually start going through the 5 learning pathways that are built and ready for you now.
Yeah, exactly. So at launch, we have 5 really exciting learning pathways for you and your students. So we are working with a range of different platforms. So we have Make Code, where students are going to be using block-based coding. Okay, it's a great kind of introduction to coding and coding concepts. We're working with Minecraft Education Edition as well, which is sure to be a student favorite. And then you can actually progress as well. We're going to be looking at web design and even programming with Python as well. So earlier on, Amanda, as well, we mentioned that DreamSpace has a mission to provide immersive STEM experiences and to assist both students and teachers on that rollout, okay? And because of this, we've actually created Educator Guides for each one of our 5 learning pathways, and they're going to provide you with learning outcomes for each module and each pathway, basically give you an overview of what your students are going to be engaging with, and there's going to be worksheets in there as well, just to enhance the whole experience for both yourself and for your student. So now, Amanda, I think it's time we kind of take a deeper dive and have a brief look at each one of those 5 modules.
Yes.
So the one we're going to start with is Learn with Microbit. Now, the Microbit and Make Code for Microbit is definitely a fan favorite here in DreamSpace. This would be very accessible for all students, regardless of their previous knowledge or what maybe how they've engaged with coding previously. And that is going to be a 4-module long learning pathway. And then coming out the back of that, they're going to have some basic coding skills, physical and computing skills. There's some engineering in there as well, because there's some maker activities you can work with as well. Leading then after that, your students can then actually engage with game design with Make Code Arcade, which your students are actually going to be building their very own retro video game. So that's definitely going to interest a lot of different students. And we have 4 modules within that pathway, and they're going to be coming out of it with computational thinking skills, game designing skills, and those analytical thinking skills as well. The important thing to note, folks, is DreamSpace Digital Academy. The app itself is actually available both through the browser, through your browser, and through Microsoft Teams. Okay, so I think, Amanda, this time we're actually going to take a deep dive into game design with Make Code Arcade through that browser environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've just quickly jumped in here to the browser environment, so we're going to share that with you now. You saw a couple of clips of that actually in the video we played at the start also. And hopefully through this you get a feel for what you'll see, and obviously most importantly what your students will see when they log into the DreamSpace Digital Academy. So I'm currently on the home page. All 5 pathways are on display for me here at the moment, and as Michael said, we're not going to have time to go through every single one in detail, so we've picked 2. We're going to start with game design with Make Code Arcade, and the interface you're seeing in front of me right now is my browser-based platform. So if you're a school that isn't using Office 365 or Microsoft Teams, this is the way you guys can get into the platform and utilize the learning pathways and content we have available. So I'm going to hop in here to game design with Make Code Arcade. And you can see we've already completed it because we love that kind of thing. We were very excited to get through the pathway ourselves to see how it looked. But if I come down here, you can see there's those 4 modules that Michael mentioned earlier, from Introduction to Game Design with Make Code Arcade all the way down to Game Features. Inside each module, we have pages. So when we click into this now, you can see each page. And across here, we have things like videos. I'll just click on play. You're not going to hear anything. I'm just going to mute that. But as it goes through, it will talk to the students about what they're going to be learning across this module. And from there, they can navigate from next to actually kind of take in the content, whether that be in video form, whether that be through the use of graphics or other types of videos, and whether that be through activities as they go as well. As you can see when you move down through it, the students, it's very user-friendly, it's very easy to navigate, and the final thing here is actually a knowledge check. And I'm going to jump into that in a little bit more detail with the Programming with Python course, but that is across all of our pathways. Each module in each pathway does have a knowledge check that the students will get through before they complete the module. Now the students can take that knowledge check as many times as they want. They can see where they went wrong and they can go back and resit it. So no one's going to be blocked from completing modules or pathways. That's just important to point out. But as you can move down through here, you can see then I can move very quickly into my module 2. Again, I start with my learning objectives video, and then we go into each tutorial video. So the students can watch the tutorial. We're trying to keep these as short and sweet as possible. Our DreamSpace teaching team did an amazing job of that. And then students, once they've seen that, they look down, they see, right, what's my activity? And then they move into whatever browser or platform they're using to complete those activities. And you as the teacher can obviously be facilitating, moving around the room and seeing how they're getting on as they go. They can also complete these activities at home because they do have that ability to log in as they see fit as they go as well. Ultimately, by the end of Module 4 here with something like Game Design with Make Code Arcade, you're actually going to have the students have built out an entire retro arcade game that's a chaser game. And one of the things that we like to look at with teachers like yourselves and with the students is how do we make them like cross-curricular. So for example, if you want to teach a science concept such as photosynthesis, how does a plant make its food? You know, the player in the game or the sprite, which students will learn about in here in Module 3, that could be the plant, and maybe they're chasing the features they need, like water, like sunlight, and maybe the enemy in this case is something like frost. And they can move through that, and you can do different lessons. So when they've completed this pathway, it's not that they're done with game design. They can go back over, they can create new games, they can link to other curriculum concepts as they go as well. And that would be then, once they get to the end, as I said, they get their certificate of completion and they're done, and then they can easily just click exit and navigate themselves back to the initial pages and jump into another pathway, which is amazing.
Yeah, exciting. Brilliant. Okay, so moving on, after our Make Code for our arcade kind of platform, our learning path, we're going to be looking at the basics of Minecraft Education Edition. Now, that's definitely going to get a lot of your students' attention, Minecraft in the classroom. Well, this learning pathway brings you through all the basics that you need to know for this game-based learning environment. Your students and yourself are going to be learning how to place blocks, how to actually run commands and learn about coordinates in there. They're going to be learning about the unique tools that are found within Minecraft Education Edition, so how it actually differs from the base Minecraft version. And then you're going to be finishing off by actually learning some block-based coding within Minecraft Education Edition as well. And coming out the back of that learning pathway, you're going to be learning engineering skills, definitely creativity, and even some bit of coding as well.
And I think it's important to note about that one, Michael, as well, when we get to this point, those 3 pathways that we just talked about, so from microbit to arcade and to Minecraft, they're all going to be utilizing block-based or visual-based programming. So if you're at a school, primary, post-primary, outreach centre, and you're kind of just at the beginning of your journey, you're probably going to start at those levels with that block-based programming where we can learn fundamental concepts, learn those skills before we probably jump into text-based programming, which are the final 2 pathways that we'll talk about now.
Yeah, and speaking of, the second to last one we're going to be looking at for the first 5 that are going to be at launch is Introduction to Web Design. Now, this is definitely going to be a fun one for a lot of your students. This is a 6-module long learning pathway in which your students are going to be learning HTML, the basis of CSS, and actually right at the end, that final module, that's going to be introducing the concept of JavaScript and how that's actually going to add to your coding journey as you progress. And you're going to be coming out the back of that learning pathway with some problem-solving skills, definitely resilience as well, and that computational thinking that is so important. And our final learning pathway we're going to be looking at today, it's actually created by Amanda herself, is programming with Python. Now, Python is a text-based language that's so popular right now in a range of jobs, even outside of computer science as well. So it's actually really important for your students to kind of get a bit of knowledge on it, and this pathway is guaranteed to do just that. It's a 6-module long learning pathway, and coming out the back of that, you're going to be having computational thinking skills, programming skills, analytical thinking skills, and actually so much more. Now, I mentioned earlier on that the DreamSpace Digital Academy app is available both in browser and within Microsoft Teams. So Amanda, let's take a dive into programming with Python and have a look at it in that Microsoft Teams environment.
Yeah, exactly. So I've logged in here now as a learner, and I have my Microsoft Teams environment open. I have my Olive VLE pinned over here on the side, so I can quickly hop in and you can see pick up where I've left off, because obviously it's learning and where I'm at my progress as I go. But specifically, I'm going to hop into the programming with Python pathway. As Michael said, I created this one, so I'm pretty excited about it. And so I'm going to hop in here. Again, we have completed it because we just wanted to make sure that all was good. And if I go down through the side, it looks very similar, as you can see, to the browser-based environment. Once again, I have my modules. Within each module, I have, if I click on Introduction, here are my pages, again, that I will navigate through. Very similar to Make Code Arcade that we looked at a minute ago. We have our videos to go through our learning objectives. We have our little bit of introduction to go through, the key areas that we're going to be focusing on. We talk about the environments that we are going to be using. And then we move into actually some activity where we have a little tutorial video once again for the students to watch, and then after that an activity for them to carry out before they complete the module with a knowledge check. Now, I didn't do this with the arcade one. I'm going to hop into basically the results here because I've taken this knowledge check. So you can see once the students have taken the knowledge check, there is a results tab that actually appears for them pretty much immediately afterwards. And I can click on View Report. And once I view that report, it actually tells me how I got on, which questions I got right, which questions I got wrong, how long it took me, and so on. So that's a really interesting report for both the student, but also for yourself as the teacher as well, if you want to check that out. The key thing about this is, as we go through the programming of Python pathway in particular, because we probably say this is probably the most difficult, maybe it's not difficult, but probably out of all our pathways, it's probably the most challenging one. The key thing about this is, for example, if I'm going to see a video here and I want to check out operators in action, as a student, I can watch the video, I can go down to my Let's Program activity, and I can obviously, I get to a point in my activity and I think to myself, oh, I'm not so sure. the really easy thing is the student can just hop back, they can just rewind the video, they can move to the point that they need, they can get themselves kind of back up to speed with where they're at with their own program. And that's kind of the beauty of it, and of the self-paced environment, is that they can move as suitable to them, they can rewatch if needed, and I think that's going to be really powerful for your students and for differentiation within your classrooms as well.
100%. Like, those resources aren't going to be gated away after they've completed it and they're taking on that challenge. They can always go back and revisit it, you know? I think that's really important. So I think that's everything in regards to the teen view. But there's one other thing there, Amanda, as well, the educator guides that are coming with our Python and all of our 5 learning pathways that we have at launch. They're there, as we mentioned earlier on, just to support you, okay? So with those worksheets, with those learning outcomes, Amanda looked at the knowledge checks earlier on, so you're actually going to have a little bit of a cheat sheet in there and giving you the answers to those knowledge checks.
Yeah, so we can have a little look at that here now. If I move down through, this is the Educator Guide for Python again. If we move down through it for you as the teacher, we have an overview page just talking about who this is for, some advice for you as the teacher based on kind of how we maybe would pitch this in your own classrooms in school. And then each module is broken down with the learning objectives, some curriculum links there for teachers just to kind of understand maybe where this might fit within their own planning and their own schemes of work. And then each module is broken down into the sections with rough time estimates. And I say rough because, again, some students might take longer with some activities than others. They might need to go back and rewatch, and they might need to, they might fly through it. So you'll have this range of students in your classrooms, but roughly it's coming in at the times that we've outlined in the teacher guide. And like you said, Michael, there is a little cheat sheet there for teachers on the knowledge check with not just the right answer and the wrong answer, but why the answer is correct, why the answer would be incorrect, and so on. So you as the teacher have that. And then for me and my course in particular, I also put in some possible code solutions for the students because there was some activities there that might be challenging, and there'll be many ways to take them on, but I've just done some examples of some possible solutions for teachers there as well.
Excellent. I think everybody now, Amanda, is actually going to be really excited to learn about how they can actually sign up, okay? So we actually have a link just on screen right now, aka.ms/dsda sign up. If you go to that, you can register yourself and all your students, enroll your students. I'm sure a lot of you guys are hopefully after that kind of excited to do that. But I think we're going to pause now and maybe give a little bit of a chat about the Q&As and some of the questions and frequently asked questions that we have coming in here. So I think we might go back and forth, Amanda. I think the first one that we got in, it was, this looks great, thank you. Is it free? So yes, so the DreamSpace Digital Academy is free for both teachers and students as well. Another question we got in was, will there be more learning pathways added?
Yeah, so we are planning to bring in more learning pathways. We're starting with those 5, and we have a roadmap of a few pathways that we want to get up there before the end of the academic year is over. However, the key thing to note about this is it is new. We are piloting this. It is a trial. And as always in DreamSpace, we love keeping our ear to the ground. We love chatting to teachers who are in the classrooms doing the content. So we want your feedback on how this stuff is working, but also maybe what pathways would be really useful for you in schools next. And we're happy to look at then how we can build those types of things into our roadmap as well to support you in your schools.
Yeah, that's so important. Like with all of our resources that we build here in DreamSpace, it's not just building STEM resources for you, it's kind of building STEM resources with you. So we do want to hear from you how best we can support you and your students. Some other questions coming in here. Can teachers do the learning pathways actually? So that is a great question. In the Digital Academy, teachers will have the opportunity to complete the same learning pathways that their students will be undertaking, and teachers can complete it as well to actually view all the content that their students will be engaging with as well. Some great other ones as well that are coming in here. What do I need to do in my school for this to run, Amanda?
So really all you have to do is get yourself enrolled. Again, go back through, you will get information. Once you enroll as a teacher, you will receive an email with the instructions about how you onboard. Obviously, how you onboard your students is dependent on are you an Office 365 Teams school? That will have a certain onboarding. And if yes, you go that route. If no, you will go the browser route. So really then all you need is your students having access to an internet connected device. So that can be any device in your schools. They might have their own device. There might be computer labs. There might be trolleys with tablets, different types of devices in them. That should work. Once you're connected on to your browser or your student is, they should be able to work away at their own pace in the Digital Academy then.
Brilliant. We have another question coming in here. I'm a primary school teacher. What classes is this suitable for? So I think when it comes to the learning pathways, we definitely have at launch anyway. We would probably say the youngest would be around 3rd class, and we would highly recommend the first pathway you undertake with your students is learn with microbit, and then gauge how they get on with that one, and then you can kind of test the waters with the other learning pathways as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question, Amanda. Approximately how many hours would be needed per pathway?
So when you get your, when you log into the teacher guides and you have a look at those educator guides, you'll see the breakdown of time. As you saw there, as we went through it earlier, some of our pathways have 4 modules, some of our pathways have 6 modules. And within those modules, we've broken down the time for you. So it's kind of roughly going to come in at probably like a 4-week scheme of work if it's a 4-week module or 4 module. It could be a 6-week scheme of work if it's a 6 module course. So it really does depends on that, and it also, to be honest, it will depend on your students and the learners in front of you, because some of them might move very quickly and some of them might need a little bit more time. But what we're hoping is for you as a teacher, if that does happen, that the students that are moving a bit slower can stay at the pace suitable to them, and the students that have moved quickly can jump into the next pathway, and then you have that ability to keep everyone moving and meeting the students and the range of abilities in your class where they're at.
Brilliant. So another great question, a really important one that we want to make sure we cover as well, is this curriculum aligned? So here in DreamSpace, we are a team of teachers, so we're very much aware of the time pressure that are on teachers to cover the curriculum. So the DreamSpace Digital Academy learning pathways are all curriculum aligned, okay? And there's a huge range of integration and linkage there available. But I believe Amanda and myself, we even chatted about it, there's at times where you're going to actually spot more opportunities to link it to what you're doing in your classroom as well. And those educator guides, I think you'd probably get a good feel of how you're going to integrate it into your own plans before you even do it in the classroom as well. A great one coming in here. What are the difficulty levels?
So what we would say is when we look at difficulty, and there's a reason we haven't been saying these are the primary school pathways, these are the post-primary school pathways, these are the youth reach pathways, because every school, and we see this with our other DreamSpace programming and with the visits of the schools that come to us here on site, every school is at a different part in their journey when it comes to these types of things. So what we would say is if we were to break it down, we would probably start entry level, beginner, most easy is probably microbit, then the next one would probably be arcade, the next one would be Minecraft, then web design, and then Python. And I suppose if you had to look at it across the spectrum, that would be where it is. But for you in your school, you'll know best as the teacher in terms of how to aim this and where to start with the content.
Excellent. I believe that's every kind of question we had coming in. If you do have more questions, folks, please head over to the dreamspace.ie website, and there you'll be able to find out how to contact us. And do let us know, because as we mentioned earlier on, we're kind of developing this with yourselves as well, and we do really appreciate your feedback. And any questions that you may have, we're going to be able to answer that as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And across the day, if you are getting a chance to log in, or even if you've had a chance to tune in and watch this, please let us know what you think. Please get us some feedback across. You can find most of our team over on different social channels. You can use that hashtag MSDreamSpace, and we will keep an eye on that and pick it up as we go. But for now, we're going to leave you to it. Thank you so much for joining us. We have one final video to show you, just to give you a little taster of what's in store for your students if you decide to join us on the journey with the DreamSpace Digital Academy. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this module, which is an introduction to web design with HTML and CSS.
Hello, and welcome to Introduction to Make Code for Microbit.
In this video, we're going to look at the Make Code Arcade website.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Module 1 of the Programming with Python pathway.
In this video, we're going to take a look at how to download the Minecraft Education Edition app and log in.